Hi gang, Scott Davenport here. In this video, I'm going to show you two different ways to make your colors pop in Luminar. Of course, there are a variety of ways to accomplish a color pop. I'll show you two methods. One I think is very obvious and straightforward. The other one, not so much, but let's have a look here. This photo here of an alleyway in Seville, Spain, and got some nice yellows and oranges, some deeper blues down in here, even some earth tones with the doorways. I want to make these colors jump out a little bit more. So the first option we have is the color contrast filter, which is down here in the professional area. We hover over that description for a moment, and how this filter works is you select a color and then start working the sliders, and the sliders will affect that particular color range, making them brighter, adding a bit more of a contrast to them. And then the opposite happens to colors that are complementary to it, or on the opposite end of a color wheel. So let's dial in, say, the orange-yellow area, somewhere around here. And as I work this amount slider, we'll see those oranges and those yellows brighten up. And the opposite end is getting affected very little, right? We're not really affecting the deeper tones there. If I push this very far, you'll see those colors get very bright, a little bit washed out too, so we don't want to go too far on this. We can also adjust the contrast. This is where we'll start to see even more of that punch. Yellows and oranges look a little bit bright to me, so I can back off the brightness on that some. And let's have a quick before and after look. Before, after. So these colors are brighter, they're singing a little bit more, and that adjustment of contrast is giving a little more punch to them. And it's a nice balance across the two different complementary colors in this photo, the oranges and yellows versus those deeper blues. Now the second way I'll show you is actually with the black and white filter. Sounds very counterintuitive, kind of because it is, but let me show you how it works. Happen to still have black and white filter right here, so let's add it to our workspace. And in the luminance area, I want to work these sliders to make this to be the best black and white photo that it can be. If you don't see these sliders here, make sure you have that edit button pressed, and then you'll get these individual color channels. I'll start adjusting these. We'll raise reds a little bit, and this is affecting the luminance, so I'm making reds a little bit brighter. Yellows can be a little bit darker. Yellows are going to cover some of the oranges. Reds are going to cover some of the oranges. Remember, we have a lot of orange in this part of the scene. And I'll adjust the blue slider as well, really deepen down the blues that are at the very bottom of the scene. Also adjust other sliders as well. Again, I want to make this look as strong as a black and white photo that I can. Let's see. Let's increase our shadows a little bit, get some of that shadow detail recovered. And lastly, add some clarity. Get some of the textures in the walls to punch out. So this is starting to look like a pretty strong black and white photo. Maybe nudge that slider up there a little bit. Of course, this is black and white, so how is this going to help us with color? It has to do with the blend mode. Now, this is something that's in every filter. It's just not very obvious to where it might be. So if I click on this little arrow out here, get a few options, and one of them is the blend mode. Now, the blend mode of normal is what all the sliders just did. Made this a black and white photo, and we adjusted some of the tonality of them. Down at the bottom, we have luminosity. I'll get down to that and hover over it, and notice we're back to a color photo, but it looks different. Things have changed. And what we're telling the filter to do is all of these adjustments we've made have that affect the luminance tones. And so that ends up becoming a color contrast. So before and after with the black and white, that's really adding in a lot of extra punch into like the reds. We opened those up a little bit, made those a little more vibrant. We downplayed some of the yellow here, just a touch, right? We deepened some of the blues. And I think for this, I may back off the clarity a little bit. I don't want to make this too gritty. So we can fine tune our adjustments there. And I am using both a color contrast and a black and white conversion with the luminosity blend mode. So that may be a little bit strong for the photo overall. I always have the option to back off the overall strength of the entire set of filters in the workspace to around 72 looks pretty good. So why don't we take a quick look at before and after of all of our color changes. I'll take the filter amounts down to 0. This is where we began, and then back up to about 70 or so. This is where we end. So, two different ways to punch up colors in Luminar. Color contrast, pick a particular color range you want to work with, start working the sliders, or take a look at the black and white conversion filter and change the blend mode to luminosity. That's the key to get the extra color punch out of a black and white adjustment. My name's Scott Davenport. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.